And so two thoughts occurred to me when I was listening to episode 5 that I thought might be important to bring up. Was when we were all talking about Coyote Dick, how and we didn't really understand, right? What's the point? Oh my God, Coyote Dick. Oh, it's the men are rubbing off their nettles or whatever. We had our, I would call it shallow understanding of that story. I wanted to be careful because I know that many indigenous cultures use Coyote as one of the characters when they are storytelling. But when I was hearing us talk about Coyote, I thought that maybe there may be some people out there who may find it offensive or just a little bit dismissive to know that storytelling is a valid means of education. And it's a very important one to many indigenous cultures. And in their storytelling ways, often Coyote is the trickster. And you learn from him, from the follies he has. And he's always like helped, and he's always, you know, kind of put back together or reaccepted. And there's many layers of lessons when Coyote shows up. And we may not have known that just by virtue of who we are and how we were raised, right? So I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge the other perspective that is out there. And that brings me to the second point, is when we were talking about the ugly duckling, and we were kind of saying, you know, like, you can pick your group. It doesn't have to be what you look like. I think obviously we're coming from, you know, people who have experienced rejection, or what I know that we're coming from a good place, but also what I heard was, and what I wanted to acknowledge is I heard our privilege in some of those statements from which we can make those statements comfortably and, oh yeah, just do what you want and pick who you want and your friends, and looks don't matter. It made me start to think, it might have been culturally insensitive. For many people, looks do matter because of the color of their skin. They're treated differently, or they're excluded, and they don't get to pick their group because they're just lumped into a group based on what they look like. So I also wanted to take an opportunity to speak to that, and part of the work in, you know, making it a better place for everyone is acknowledging our social position by virtue of the society, and also taking a minute to remind our audience even that there are other perspectives, and hopefully those other perspectives, if and when they're listening to us, they're not offended. I thought that we could take this time that I've just taken to mention those 2 points in an effort to move towards cultural sensitivity, because I think that's something that we find important and value. And
I hope too that any fans that are listening out there that have something that we've said that you find that maybe we just don't know, we would like for you to tell us and talk to us and open that dialogue so that we can learn. Because just like Kim says, we don't know everything, obviously, and that you know, and that we want to learn. We want to learn from you. So please contact us. Let us know. Write to us or email or call us. We have a phone number, and let us know how you feel so that we can learn more.
Right. You can get our contact information on our website at www.bookinterrupted.com at the bottom of the page, or you can email at connect@bookinterrupted.com.
Yeah, and then if you contact us, we'll also address it on our fan episode.
Exactly. That's what we're here for. Nice segue.
Yeah. Book Interrupted.
This is ridiculous. Like, I couldn't be happier just hiding in my car. So I'm just kind of wondering, I'm like, so I've just spent like, I think 4 days now, like being huge, like just domestic, like hugely devoted to like the girls and the hobby and the family life and all that. And like, that's great. It's just, I don't do my best work when I don't balance me. I got a deep well, ladies. Like, I'm just, this gal is looking for her cloak. So that was one of the things that Clarissa Pinkola Estés mentioned in one of her many long-winded chapters in Women Who Run with the Wolves. Like, there is a time when a woman just needs to cloak up, like cloak herself, and she's literally like invisible to the rest of the world. Like, here's your sign. No, I don't want to do that for you. You can do it yourself. So anyways, if you see my cloak, if you find it, could you send it to me? Because I'm looking for it right now. I'm looking.
Book Interrupted.
Because we just launched Book Interrupted, I'm sure most of us, the first reactions were from our mothers.
Yeah. Oh, actually, something that's been very flattering with the moms is like I've got a lot of positive feedback about the blog, the Down the Rabbit Hole blog.
It's amazing. I look forward to it every Sunday. I wake up and I'm like, oh, I get to read the blog this week and see where the book took you. Because it's so interesting how you just take it and then all of a sudden you're talking about people's eyebrows and about how society is dealing with this. And then so that's really cool that you're taking this idea of this book and letting it kind of take you on different paths. I love it.
In good mom fashion, no pressure, but she's like, I think that you could write the next great Canadian novel.
Wow.
Oh,
Nice.
Charlene, she is the most wonderful woman. Like,
I bet your book would be good.
I'd read it too.
Mom's team now. You do have the next novel in you.
there.
You know how we put out there for male book options?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so a friend of mine is an acupuncturist, and she contacted a male acupuncturist and asked him if he knew anything that would fit into this category of book. And he sent back The Way of the Superior Man, and she said he sent it back because he's very well read. Well, Meredith can talk about this because she read it.
Started listening to it. I got a couple of chapters in. I think Women Who Run with the Wolves talks about trying to be like your natural self and you know, listening to your instinctual self. This one, how do I say this delicately? It seems more,
Don't
bother. I don't want to say anything bad, but I didn't like it. I found it offensive for men and women, actually.
I can't ever read this because the book title is so offensive.
Women aren't decisive, and you can see that. For example, if you're having a conversation with them, they take a long way. They want to talk about different things and take a long way to get there, even though you're like, what are you even talking about? Let's just solve this problem we have, and I'll solve it for you right now. And he likened that to how women and men have sex, where men are just trying to get to ejaculate and finish, whereas women want to take a journey instead or something. And I mean, just likening.
No, I'm in a pretty big rush to get off. Usually, I'm trying to beat him.
And then he goes, "Oh, this is a good one." He'd be like, "Who are these women? Do you want to go to the movies?" And then she says, "No, I don't want to go to the movies." He's like, "Maybe what you need to do is kiss her deeply and dance with her and this and that, and then try asking her again, do you want to go to the movies?" And she'd be like, "Of course I do." Or just like
The little description, it says, "The Way of the Superior Man, a spiritual guide to mastering the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire. What do women really want? What makes a good lover? What is your true purpose in life?" So I can see why maybe thinking about it, that spiritual thing could, you know, kind of, now that you've read it, you know, it's not the same, but I could see how that could be an idea of how the spiritual journey of the man versus the spiritual journey of the woman.
I think like the guy it's almost like he had an idea of how he could like help men improve their life, but he just hadn't quite figured it all out yet.
Or asked a woman.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Asked a woman. I would say
maybe it's just a poor example of a comparison.
Well, that's what I called it. I was like, it'll say this and it'll say, you know what I mean? Like the man books are all like, be a man. And that's kind of what that one was. It was a really toxic version of how you're going to be a superior man too. Like,
found another book though, right? That was a better kind of fit, we think.
So, and it's called, I Don't Want to Talk About It. Let me just make sure. Yeah. I Don't Want to Talk About It by Terrence Real. And I think this book is it. The book is talking about overt and covert male depression and how it shows up in men differently than women because of this patriarchy we live in, and how men can find themselves feeling, you know, depressed or just kind of deadened, like not feeling 100% because they've had all these parts of them that were suppressed because of the patriarchy and how that affects men's mental health. And
I
so
love that.
Sounds like exactly what we were requesting.
One of the other fans suggested, because they're like, they suggested 4 agreements, or like it's written by a man and it's spiritual.
I have an opinion about 4 agreements. So
yes,
we brought it up.
okay.
Yeah, I'll just,
It better
so-
be that you love it because it's one of my favorite books. No
Well, then never mind. No, just kidding. The content is super amazing. I totally agree. Follow those 4 agreements and you will be pretty good to go. When I read that book, I was like, oh, shut the fuck up. Like, I felt like this guy, imagine you live in this place and in this place, all these things are this way, idiot. And don't forget, like, it just, and it's my brain
The tone?
reading it to me in that tone, but the tone was really like, I don't know what it was. I felt like, I don't know, don't forget, in the dreamland, everything is weird. Like, I don't know, like just reminding, like as if I can't keep up with the message or something. I don't know. I did not feel like fighting Women Who Run with the Wolves to consume it. Whereas I want, like the 4 agreements, I fought it so that I could consume it, because I could really, the value of the, so I guess you can read a pamphlet.
Like you start doing spin-offs of like the spiritual self-help books of all the ones that annoy you. I'm like, here.
Yeah, totally.
Just read these 2 pages.
Right,
We're
I'll do
good.
the pamphlets. I'll do this, and this. Forget the rest.
Done.
I love that. Yes, please, because I don't want to read any of the books.
There you
So
go. Perfect.
can you just give me the Coles notes?
This is a good segue because one of the fans said the topic is basically like fixing yourself, which implies that you're broken. They wrote a bigger quote. What? Yes, go ahead, KJ.
How can I put it? The whole point of life is to grow. If you are not growing, then you're dying. That's the end of that, like, period.
I don't know if that's true. I know a couple of real content people.
Change. You can't not change. When you stop changing, then you die. It's just a fact.
When you think of the self-help, like I've read a lot of self-help in my life. And I know that genre. But do you think that it's like, is it overkill? Like, do you know what I mean? Like that there's just so many books about all the things that you need to fix to be a better person, like constantly, like is there something to say about like just being like, I'm pretty good?
Yes, there is.
Yes, I agree.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm getting at. Like, maybe you're right. Maybe this has to do with like, I'm not broken. Like that's the quote they said, I'm not broken. But it does make me think about the whole like constantly feeling not good enough, like always needing, and especially if you're like, I'm like kind of like that ambitious type, perfectionist type personality. So sometimes I have to take a break from that because it's like you're constantly working towards this.
How can you stay present and accept yourself and the now if you're constantly being forced to look back and reflect and do the work, but also look forward for what you might miss? And are there parts of the self-help industry that actually do have mechanisms to perpetuate the consumer in us? If the self-help industry was in effect doing its implied job, there wouldn't be a self-help industry or section anymore, right?
You do just live, even if you can be like the wriggly fish on the hook that like flails around and tries to get off the hook, or you could just be on the fucking hook. Like, you don't have to fix yourself. Like, sometimes I like that about the patriarchy is at least a certain type of male that just has been so pampered their whole life that they just are completely flawed and feel no need to fix themselves at all. They just show up.
Good.
They got their face, they got their penis, and they're here to party. Like, that's it. And it's like, there's something disgusting and beautiful about that. Like, they don't feel the need to be fixed at all. I would love to accept myself. So I just think you don't have to. I don't know if I believe that like changing in the self-transformative way means living.
Right. Like it can be healthy or unhealthy, just like anything really. But like
This thought little seedling in my head that is like, it's not about male or female either. Like I used a male example there, but that like, I think it just comes down to, I think ignorance is bliss to a certain extent. Like the more I look inward, the less I want to do it. I'm much happier when I ignore it. If I'm honest, like it's like, it's a little bit true. I'd rather just watch too much TV, you know? I'd rather just drink one more glass of wine sometimes. It feels like a lot of work, y'all.
well, I mean, that's
Reading all these books is a lot of work, y'all.
It's valid, right? Like you want to.
You can have parts of you that you would like to change or improve or learn or whatever without feeling broken or without being broken. You can be a confident person who wants to learn and grow. And, you know, I put my passion and my learning into wine and into other things that, you know, I don't want to read a lot of self-help books for me. I did this for Sarah. I came into this for Sarah. I knew this was not going to be my jam. And the first two books definitely weren't my jam. I mean, the third one's my choice and it's practical and that's more my thing.
I think ultimately what every human is looking for is fulfillment. And you could cycle through a lot of different self-help books and not find the one that's going to spark the inspiration that will lead you to have something fulfilling in your life. And I think that's one of the needs of humans, is to have something fulfilling.
After episode 3, I had a few friends approach me who'd listened or seen advertisements of the episode in which it was focused completely on being a parent and being a mother. And they said to me, how are you feeling? One of them was a bit angry for me. She said, well, that's not fair that you were left out. I had other, friends saying, well, you must feel really emotional about this. For anyone who doesn't know, and I'll talk about this more during Seeing Red, I can't have children. My partner and I tried, and we can't. So the reason I didn't speak during that episode is because I'm not a parent and I'm not an expert. And I just like when Kim said she hadn't read the book and didn't feel confident, I don't feel confident talking about being a parent because I'm not a parent. But I also am really happy that you all can share that with me. And I think that, I'm an aunt to all of your kids, and I'm really proud aunt. And I never, ever, ever want any of you to not speak about these things in front of me, because, it's amazing. And that's something that's really strong and important in your lives. And so I want to be a part of it, even if I'm not a mom.
We're very happy you're here too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah. So anyway, so my point being that my friends who listen, no, I'm not uncomfortable.
Our listeners see the episodes, and off camera, we're all friends and we're all supporting each other through good and bad, and just like each other's experiences as well.
Thank you for visiting Book Interrupted's YouTube channel. Please click the button below to subscribe. This way you don't miss any episodes. Also, if you like this particular episode, give us a thumbs up to say that you liked it. Give us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Or share it with your friends and family.
On Book Interrupted.